Ja, herzlich willkommen zur neuen Ausgabe SE Talk. Zweiter Tag hier in Vancouver. Wir sind jetzt im Oktober gelandet und ich habe jetzt eine Firma, die ich im Mai, Juni, also wie ich das letzte Mal hier war, getroffen, interviewt. Bin auch Aktionär in der Zwischenzeit. Die haben ein Private Placement damals gemacht, also Conflict of Interest. Ich bin Aktionär. Und haben jetzt eine Namensänderung gehabt. Sie heißen jetzt AMP German Cannabis Group. Und da sieht man schon auch, wo der Fokus liegt. Bei mir ist der Alex Blodgett. Blodgett, I do it right? Again?
Correct, yeah.
Great. Alex, thank you for your time. I say in my German introduction that I have a conflict of interest. I was part of the last private placement in May, June, around this time. And in the meantime, you have a name change from Chinook to AMP German Cannabis Group.
Correct.
What was the reason or to change the name? Is it more that the people understand the business, your business, clearly out of the name?
Yeah, correct. So we've adopted a new investment policy where we're singularly focused in on delivering EU GMP certified medicinal cannabis to German patients. That's the only thing we're focused in on. Beforehand, we had a number of other investments that were non-strategic. So we are going to monetize those and again focus just in on delivering cannabis into the German market.
What is the timeline? What we can expect from the company? So when you will start to deliver the first product to the German market?
So we're still on the same target that we discussed when you and I met in May or June. We want to under promise, over deliver. So we're talking about starting to ship product in the first half of 2020. And with any luck, we're going to be able to accelerate that. What we've done since you and I last chatted is we've continued to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So the food chain suppliers, and principally we're talking to licensed producers here in Canada, but we're also talking to people in Israel and Australia and Denmark, etc. We're dealing with suppliers, we're dealing with the EU GMP certification process, not only in terms of working with those suppliers, but also the whole logistical chain. To get the product from Canada, by way of example, to the pharmaceutical distributor in Germany. And then we're also working, obviously, in securing the distribution in Germany. So I think when we met, we had made an announcement with respect to one supplier here in Canada. We now have contractual relationships with 3, and we're talking to a number of others. The suppliers here in Canada are medium to late stage producers, which means they've got their cultivation and their processing licenses. One of them is already selling product. And so,
can you say some names?
The only one we've announced at this point is Pure Life, and you've seen probably a couple press releases on them. The others will announce hopefully shortly. But obviously we're not putting all our eggs in one basket, so we're continuing to throw the net wider in terms of suppliers we're dealing with, again, not only in Canada but also other parts of the world. We have refined our logistical platform because this is deemed to be a narcotic. It needs to be shipped on a secured basis. It arrives in Germany. It needs to be stored. And then ultimately we deliver it to our pharmaceutical distributor. And then ultimately we got to sell the product. And so we already have a contractual relationship, which we'll announce shortly, with a major distributor. And we're in discussions with a number of other distributors in Germany. So we've pretty well tightened up the whole food chain, whereas beforehand it was more than a hypothesis because we were already talking to people. Now we have contractual relationships with people that we're buying from, people we're selling to, and we have contractual relationships in place in terms of how to get the product from here over to Germany.
So that's mean your key idea, your really success model is that you have the knowledge how to bring the product to the German market, how to distribute it, and what the companies, the producers need that they can sell the product. Do you have any competition on this?
So right now there are 4 companies selling product. Right now there's no cultivation market in Germany, so the only product that's being sold is being imported. 3 of those are producers here in Canada, and one's basically coming out of the Netherlands. Interestingly enough, we talk about this huge market over in Europe and specifically in Germany, but 2018 there were less than 2,900 kilograms of medicinal cannabis that was actually brought in. So I mean, it's the number is anemic at this point. 2019, that number is probably about 5,000 kilograms. So there is very little product that's flowing. So the only people in the market today are actual producers. We're an importer, so we have the ability to buy from a whole bunch of different suppliers. We're the only one we refer to as pure play doing this.
What is the key for your success? Is it that you have secured the distribution, or is it more to know how to get qualified the product and that you can import it to the Germany?
I mean, so the answer is yes, which is to say all of those things. I think one of the real values that we have is our mind and management's based in Germany. You know, I'm responsible for capital markets and making sure we have capital and that sort of stuff here in Canada, but mind and management's over in Germany. I think our biggest differentiator is we've been doing business over there for 25 years, so we have the relationships. And in order to ultimately be able to get a narcotics import license, which we expect to have in Q4, to be able to ultimately get all these licensed producers here in Canada, EU GMP certification requires governmental relationships. And so you may recall, we're working with one of the largest German-based pharmaceutical consulting firms. They come over here and they help us do the audit on the licensed producers and ultimately get them certified. But you don't get them certified until the government basically steps in and qualifies that. So, you know, one of the big differentiators is we have the relationships at the government level to get this all done expeditiously.
When you start next year in the first half, what kind of volume we can expect?
Well, again, like any early stage company, we're being very conservative. You know, again, we want to under-promise, over-deliver, but we would expect to be shipping product certainly in Q1 or Q2, and I think next year it's not unreasonable to suggest that we'll ship probably 1,000 kilograms based on the relationships we already have in place. Keep in mind, the licensed producers here in Canada need to get their EU GMP certification, and there's a predictable timeline in order to do that. They need to start growing product, we need to buy that product. So based on the groups that we're currently talking to, we'll be in a position to ship that product in the first half of the year, but we effectively only have, you know, a half a year in order to kind of get that cycle going. So we'll probably ship, say, 1,000 kilograms in 2020, but would be doing significantly more, probably 2,500 the following year, and then we'd see ourselves growing exponentially.
It's really tough. I know it was a tough question. Then you don't know the market. Nobody knows the market. How big is really? So it's really tough to answer. When I say your company is a kind of logistic provider, is this a good description of
you know, it's, I mean, I again, that's a great question. I see us more as a facilitator. We're almost a commodity trading house. I mean, we can say with clarity what we're going to buy the product for, and we're simultaneously going to be selling it at another price. So, you know, again, keeping in mind that we're not going to start buying product until some point in 2020, we're projecting forward, and we're projecting those costs to come down. So by way of example, you know, I could see a scenario where we'll be buying at €2 from the licensed producer. We'll be selling to our pharmaceutical distributor for probably $4. That distributor or wholesaler will be selling to the pharmacy for probably €6, and the patient will ultimately probably be paying €15. Today, the patients are probably paying 20, a little over €20. So
that was
we're going to see the prices coming down.
That's already was my next question. What is really the margin? What you really get?
Yeah.
So that's mean with a little bit luck and with the price decrease, and I see also a price decrease in the market. We see a lot of producers coming online, and you need now a market for. And so that's mean per gram we see, or you hope that you can generate the margin around €2.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and then the thing is, our business is reasonably predictable. Again, one of the other key differentiators is we're not a cultivator or a producer, so we don't take all that capital expenditure risk. We know what we're buying for, we know what the cost is to deal with the logistical platform, and we know what we're going to sell for. So for the most part, we can lock in our margin.
That's my problem, what I have with the cannabis market in general, that is dominated by the producers, by the growers. But in the end, it will be more important how your distribution is. Then hemp is not really tough to grow, but it's tough to sell maybe. So you need a selling.
Well, and I think if you look at our stock price, I mean, again, we're early stage, so we don't have a lot of volume in our stock, but we've been able to maintain our stock price when you looked at a lot of the producers, and those valuations have come way off. We see ourselves long term as really a trading house. So when we set up AMP German Cannabis Group, we have 3 subsidiaries. We'll refer to AMP Germany, AMP Switzerland, and AMP Malta. Malta, by way of example, is interesting. Malta, as you may know, is the only European country that allows unrestricted exports of medical cannabis into the rest of Europe. And we see long term Malta being almost really kind of an exchange center. And so, we're looking for opportunities to invest in cultivation, as well as using it as a kind of a central hub where we can import medicinal cannabis into Malta and then ultimately export out to Germany. And then,
and Switzerland is also for you a market, or
Switzerland's going to be, again, as I mentioned earlier, we've adopted a policy where we're investing in medical cannabis. In Switzerland, we're looking at opportunities to cultivate, and principally a CBD flower product. We think Switzerland very quickly is going to allow exports of their product. So at this point, for example, we're looking at making an investment in a producer, a Zurich-based producer, that at capacity will be able to produce 4,500, almost 5,000 kilograms. We'll invest in that business long enough to see them get into production, and then what we'll do is we'll enter into a definitive long-term agreement to buy product from them. And once that cycle begins, then we'll monetize our investment. We'll probably take that company public through the CSE, just like AMP currently trades on.
Interesting.
So again, we're looking for opportunities to invest in this space, but ultimately our objective is to deliver EU GMP certified product to German patients. And that market is going to be huge. I mean, it's there's so many numbers out there, and so it's difficult to kind of be too terribly specific. But there's something between 12,000 and 40,000 patients in Germany, and right now there's no domestic cultivation. So the only source are imports. And again, last year there was less than 3,000 kilograms delivered to those patients. So that there's a huge demand, and there's a complete lack of supply.
Alex, thank you for the update. Next time, hopefully we'll see us, then we can do another update. Ja, war meine erste Cannabis-Company sozusagen, und was spannend ist, und ich finde die Definition gut. Ich bin nicht unbedingt der Fan, jeder, der mich kennt, von diesen Growers, weil ich einfach sage, danach wird der Konkurrenzkampf so groß werden, dass es dann schwierig ist, eigentlich sein Produkt an den Mann zu bekommen, und wir kriegen dort einen riesen Preisdruck drauf. Das heißt, als Grower kannst du nur dann Geld verdienen, wenn du wirklich billig produzierst. So, ein Ansatz ist, erstens einmal, sie konzentrieren sich auf Deutschland, Import, also EU-qualifiziertes Produkt, GMP-qualifiziertes Produkt, dass sie das am Markt bringen. Sie bauen sozusagen, deswegen habe ich gemeint, ob er so eine Art Logistikunternehmen ist. Das heißt, sie haben die Connections zu den Firmen, helfen diesen Firmen, dass die EU-zertifiziert werden, importieren dann das Produkt nach Deutschland und distribuieren das dann an ihre Pharmahändler, die sie haben. Da gibt es ja ein paar große Pharmahändler, und das ist quasi ein Kernbusinessmodell, und die Marge, die sie darauf ungefähr kriegen, ist Sie rechnen mit 2 Euro. Das heißt, Sie hoffen, dass Sie es ungefähr mit 2 Euro einkaufen, verkaufen das Produkt dann weiter an die Pharmahändler für 4, die verkaufen es wiederum weiter an die Apotheken für 6 bis 7 und die verkaufen es dann für 15 Euro weiter an ihre Endkunden. Der Markt selber ist noch relativ klein, weil Deutschland auch keine Produktion hat. Letztes Jahr, glaube ich, waren 2900 Kilo. Das ist nicht wirklich viel. Vor allem wenn man das vergleicht teilweise mit Kanada, was da ist, und es gibt ja relativ viele Patienten dafür und das ist eigentlich ein Wachstumsmarkt. So, er hat allerdings fast eine bessere Definition gebracht. Er sagt jetzt, sie sind so was wie ein Trading House, also wie ein Händler. Sie kaufen billig ein, haben das Know-how, diese Leute auch zu qualifizieren und verkaufen das dann einfach mit einer Marge weiter. Und das ist ja ein Kernbusinessmodell. Sie haben auch in der Schweiz noch eine Tochterfirma, die auch Investment macht. Sie wollen zwar eigentlich die Investments zurückfahren, hat aber gesprochen, dass er möglicherweise sich an einem Produzenten beteiligt, die sie dann nachträglich an die Börse bringen können, weil Schweiz scheinbar das erste Land wird, auch in der EU, in Europa den Export dementsprechend erlaubt von ihren eigenen Produkten und das wäre dann natürlich eine interessante Sache. Das Zweite, was sie auch noch haben, ist Malta. Malta glaubt er, dass sich Malta, weil sie es erlauben, den Export von medizinischem Cannabis in die ganze EU, dass Malta möglicherweise so eine Börse wird für das ganze Cannabis-Bereich in der EU. Und das ist sozusagen die Strategie. Das erste Produkte sollen im ersten Halbjahr nach Europa kommen, der Verkauf auch dort dementsprechend gestartet werden. Sie wollen konservativ, ich habe gefragt, welche Mengen erwarten Sie rund. Er sagt halt, er geht davon aus, im ersten Jahr um die 1000, im zweiten Jahr dann hoffentlich 2500 Kilo und das wäre sozusagen das Businessmodell. Also relativ kalkuliertes Businessmodell, weil Sie kaufen es nur ein, wenn Sie auch quasi den Verkauf dazu haben. Und von daher ist es sehr überschaubar. Das ist auch nicht unbedingt risikoreich behaftet. Sie haben die Connections, weil sie eigentlich eine deutsche Firma auch sind. Die meisten sitzen in Deutschland und daher auch die Connections zum Markt. Spannende Story nach wie vor. Wie gesagt, ich bin Aktionär. Die Aktie hat sich auch sehr gut entwickelt im Verhältnis zum anderen Cannabismarkt, während alle anderen eigentlich trotzdem einen ziemlichen Downtrend haben, ist das eine interessante Sache. Ja, das war's vom Interview AMP German Cannabis Group sozusagen, die auch in Frankfurt notiert, im Oktober 2019 Vancouver. Tschüss und Baba. Alex, thank you.
Thanks very much.